Hello, everyone. Welcome to your favorite podcast, the Mile High Sports Symposium. I am joined by my good friend, Chris Whitright. However, my kids apparently don't know him. So how good of a friend is he? We're going to talk all things sports. So stay tuned, and we have some good stuff for you today.
Yo, welcome to the show. Let me set the scene. Mile High Sports Symposium, living the dream. Broncos in the house with that orange and blue. Nuggets making moves, watch that altitude crew. Avalanche bringing ice, check the skills they display. Rocky swinging bats, ready for game day. Rapids in the mix, kicking it with style. Buffs bring the heat, put the rivals on trial. Out talking JJT, they got the scoop. Mile High vibes, feel that energy rise. Sports on the menu, watch the crowd mesmerize. From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire.
My good man. I am glad you're here today. I want to welcome everyone in to the Mile High Sports Symposium, one of the many podcasts on the Orange and Blue Network. So we're going to talk all things Denver sports, even Colorado Rockies. We're going to take a pulse check on all of the Denver landscape. We're going to talk Avs, Nuggets, Broncos, the Combine, pitchers and catchers reporting, because apparently the Rockies are classified as a Major League Baseball team. Before we get into all of the fun banter, I want to say hi again to Chris. Sir, how are you today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Like I said, like Nick said, I'm a friend of his and excited to be on the show.
Yeah, and what people don't know is you and I have, or maybe they have when we've had you on before, but we have geeked out over sports, especially football stuff, draft stuff, whether that be real or Madden, which at least for us at the time was kind of real, because we weren't going to play in the NFL. So, but Chris was one of those aspiring GMs, if I recall back in the day with your master's in, was it sports management?
Sports administration, but yes.
Sports administration. Yeah. You were the first person I knew that really wanted to do the front office-y stuff. And obviously we found out that all the bureaucratic nonsense about what it actually takes to get in there. But
it happens.
Our enjoyment of sports, and not just what's on the field, but what occurs outside, was definitely in line. So excited to talk all of that stuff with you today. But first, just as the human, how are you?
Catch me up. Man. I'm getting over something. So if these takes sound bad, month from now, we'll blame it on the NyQuil-induced coma. So
that's fair.
But yeah, we're good.
That's fair. It feels like it is that time for everybody. Like everyone's kind of got the ick. So thanks for not giving it to me.
No, I'm happy to do it remotely. So
I appreciate it. So, but yeah, it's again another better than expected weather day. Which again, the guilt of enjoying 60 degrees in February is real. That said, it's the day today, this is great, but knowing that we're spinning into an abyss it comes with the cost. So fully aware of that, but got another jam-packed Manning sports weekend. So that's fun. Just told Chris I hit a workout goal of mine that I'm super pumped about. And in doing so at the gym, I got, there's always a person or two that knows their stuff. You don't really talk to them, kind of talk to them, but you don't really know them. but you know that they like got it. And I got one of those today. I got the nod, like, nice job after a set of my squats. And so that was awesome. Came home, told the wife, and she said, wow, I'm happy for you that you can be proud about that. That's what she said. It's like, I am, but thanks for sharing my.
Sometimes it's the little things that get you through the day. So who cares?
I mean, like, right? Like everyone else that I told that like understands that was like, yeah, that's awesome. It's like, yeah, you get it. A little validation means that like you hit depth, you like did a thing. You didn't, you weren't half doing it. You weren't doing the quarter squat. We got a guy that does like an 8th squat guy, like loads up a whole bunch of weight and then like does like, and wraps his knees. Probably takes like 10 minutes to get ready to do all of the stuff that he does. And he's like a pretty strong dude, at least from the other stuff that he does, I could tell. But I don't know. But I got the nice job by a guy that knows what he's doing at the gym. And so I will take that. And I'm going to go on with my day. So we are going to talk Colorado Rockies. Yes, we're going to talk Colorado Rockies. I know other people are probably like, why are you going to talk about a minor league team? And I'm going to say fair. Because I want to, because I like baseball. Like most of you, though, I like a good baseball. And 2017, 2018, like baseball wise in Colorado was like phenomenal. Like it wasn't like this fluky run of the, the Helton and the babies, the 07 run, which was magic. But, those were like good teams that you had 2 pitchers finish in the top 10 of the Cy Young voting in Colorado. A kid pitched Colorado. Cal Freeland was 4th in the Cy Young voting. So it feels like a long time ago, that's for sure. But you know what? Talked about it a little bit on here, and we're going to keep it quasi brief because they still have to earn. They have to earn minutes. Yeah. They're the tryhard kid on the bench, and even that before they were like the kid that was on the team because their dad is like on the board. He wasn't. It wasn't one that we put on. Like that's what it was. Now it's at least like the tryhard kid, like super tall, probably like bad coordination that you're like, well, if we just keep him on,
super gangly, running well weird, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. What I've appreciated is that they did go outside the organization and hire baseball people, and then they have let the baseball people do their job and bring in more baseball people. Which just for that, it's like it's hard because it's like that's what teams are supposed to do,
right? But again, we haven't been doing that for decades.
We haven't been doing that. So sometimes you just got to be excited for us stepping into the closing the gap of professional landscape. So talked about last week, the Rockies signed a few major league pitchers, which normally they haven't done. And if they do, it's like minor league deals. Mind you, these are all 1-year deals, but they're guys who have had major league success and have been fairly competent over the last few seasons. So Jose Quintana, Tomoki Sugano. I probably should have. Yeah. And then Michael Lorenzen, who is just yacked. My guy's like, was he like 34? And he's just, he's got like, so I dare you to tell him he can't pitch in Colorado. Dare any of you. And then a couple moves I did like. So we got Jake McCarthy, who is a high ceiling prospect in Arizona for a bag of Skittles. And then I think a couple players that might play well, but Eduardo Hien, they got from Minnesota, infielder, and then Willie Castro, who was an all-star 2 years ago. It's 2 years ago. Not a guy that's can hit over fences, but can play everything. And the thing that I like is when you're building an organization, so especially in my league system, one reason why the Dodgers are so successful is because they don't let players play at position. You got to play at least 2 or 3 so you have versatility. And so one, it's better development, I think, for the players, but you also can crack the major league roster faster when you know how to do that. You find some more value. And so I'm excited because I think it's pointed in the right direction. That's it, really. We'll see how the rest. But I think the emphasis on like of what they're doing is just, it's nice. It's good. It provides hope.
Yeah, I think I'm interested in the fact that they're taking steps to do something different rather than like the same old, and constantly like running it back, signing veteran guys that you know are not going to work. And they're like, okay, we're going to invest in some pitching. We're going to get a guy in Will Castro that plays all over the diamond. So, okay, that's interesting. So at least that's a step in the right direction. The problem that I'm having is that like some of these signings, I still question whether they're good or not. Like Seguno led the AL in home runs allowed, and we're moving him to Coors Field. And that has me more than a little eyebrow raised. Yeah, a little eyebrow raised there. I'm like, I don't understand what the.
I didn't look back though. Was that a 1-year thing, or has he been a guy that's gave the long ball? Do you know what I'm saying?
He's kind of just a journeyman that like he got crushed last year, so I don't know how.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, last year the Orioles itself were just not great, Bob. That was his first year in the major leagues, though, right? Because he came from Japan. And but in Japan, he won the Japanese Cy Young twice, which is pretty cool, considering you're pitching against some of the best. But yeah, you give a guy that's throwing meatballs. Camden Yard, though, is like, at least if there are a couple yards that would equate pretty similarly, because I think that Coors Field was modeled after Camden, or at least the dimensions a little bit were. Yeah, they're pretty relative, but yeah, gave up 33 home runs, but only 36 walks. So, like maybe he's not giving free passes. So maybe he's a guy that's like, you know what? I'd rather pitch to him, make him hit it, than give him a free pass. And then sometimes you like groove one, and then they're like, get out. Yeah, I mean, not great. Let's keep it real. Not great. I think we also understand that a 36-year-old Sugano and Lorenzen is 34. And then Jose Quintana, I think, is 36.
He's 37.
And so these guys, 37. So, I think we understand what they are, but it's a move in a way of going to get guys that will eat innings, that from all accounts are good leaders. I do like that they got like multicultural in there. You got your American, you got your Quintana from Latin America, and Scano, who's Japanese. And so really those are kind of the major languages and cultures that feed the MLB right now. And so my feeling is you got guys in that can lead, that I think can relate to a larger group of the pitchers and players on the team. But it's a commitment, that's probably somewhere between $16 and $20 million that you committed to 3 pitchers, instead of just eating it and not spending anything and then just letting your young guys get shellacked. And so it at least just has depth. I think they have 7 kind of viable options. And just with that, just the move up, I think we're going to go ahead and transition while we're still feeling positive about it. But I just like that they have hired guys to do their job. They've let them do their job. And so far, I can see the work of a plan. And that's, for me, it was what made me feel better about the Broncos. Is like, okay, I can see the plan. The Nuggets, I could see the plan. Avalanche, see the plan, right? It's like, it's clear. They don't have to tell you what the plan is. You can see it develop. And the Rockies, I think all of us shared in what are we doing? Yeah. Like none of us would make it. Not one player would make that, or one fan would make that move. And here we are. So we got, unless you want to follow up with anything about that, we're going to transition to sports people actually want to talk about.
That sounds good. Yeah, I'm still taking the under on them. I think it was 70. I think it's 75 wins. I'm going to say it's probably going to be 60 wins, which is a 17-game improvement, but you're still, looking at being
that's so terrible. MLB. Yeah, it's over under 75. If they reach 75 wins, does Warren Schaefer get Manager of the Year consideration?
I think he almost has to, going from 43
one of the worst teams in history.
Yeah, I mean 43 wins
in history of sport. Like let's keep it clear. This isn't just history of baseball. Like that was one of the most feeble seasons in professional sports, like American professional sports history. So just keeping it real, if they like were competitive, I think it goes a long way. But do you feel a little bit more optimistic about the Rockies, where they're going? Because I mean, you still haven't had to lean on or get to lean on Holiday or Condon or some of the guys that may or may not, but have all of the tools to be successful. You feel a little bit more optimistic than maybe this time last year?
Probably. But again, I mean, I was like looking at the roster going, I am just not interested in this club. And I think they're just going to be bad.
That's rough.
And lo and behold, they were. So
shocker.
Yeah, no.
Shocker how that works. All right. Well, let's transition to a team that actually has committed to sports and does a good job, which is literally the rest of the Colorado sports teams.
Right.
I would say even like I would put the Buffs ahead of the Rockies in like terms of their plan, which I mean, even though some of it's fell on its face, it's like, all right, like you're invested, you're trying to like figure it out. Let's go to the Colorado Avalanche, who went into the winter break, tops the NHL in goals or goals scored, goals allowed, and points. And so with that, some of the things that you and I want to talk about today, because it's way more fun to talk about what could the team do than them probably running it back, because their team is really good and they probably could just win anyway. But we're going to talk about a little bit of in or out. Should the Avs be in, or out? And I'm going to throw this out to Chris. Chris is going to tell us whether or not the Avalanche should consider and do what it takes maybe to get these players. So we got a few players in mind. So first and foremost, Vander Kane, winger.
Yep, winger, Vancouver Canucks.
Tell me a little bit about why you think he could fit.
So,
and then maybe why he wouldn't fit.
So I think for the philosophy of this kind of discussion is I think we're looking at adding depth pieces more than like I need a big splash in the trade deadline. So for Vander Kane, I think he's got everything you want in a playoff resume. He scores goals. He's big in big moments. And that's ultimately what the Avalanche are trying to attain, is a Stanley Cup. We want a deep playoff run. We want a Stanley Cup. We're in. So, he's physical. He scores goals. Also, I think he can be had for cheap this trade deadline, simply because I think, the Canucks are not necessarily in it, and I think they've grown tired of him. And part of the reason he's available is because he's not necessarily the best locker room guy, and he's had some health issues in the past, which I totally get. But after this season, he's a free agent. So I think if you go get him, he'll be motivated to play well. I think he's got what you want in a third line winger. And he's physical, he can play, or he can skate, he can score goals, and you would get production off that third line, which I think is important, especially when you're relying on some younger players on that line. So I'm in on Evander Kane. So especially since I think he could be had for maybe a third round pick in your draft. So to me, that's
in hockey terms, if you were to use football math, what equivalent would that be in like a football draft pick?
You're looking at kind of a day 3 pick if we're doing equivalency. A third round pick, you're basically just betting on traits and hoping that they rise quickly. I mean, they don't always pan out. Yeah. So again, super cheap.
Yeah,
I think he's still he's got
more of the dart throw.
Yeah, I think he's got, and his contract I don't think is a huge issue, because if it doesn't work out, then you're not tied to him for any length of time. So you can move on quickly and go do something else. So
yeah.
So
I like it. I think Evander Kane, when he's a guy that like your fan base hates, I kind of dig it. You had that with Kadri. I think any successful team, you got at least one a-hole.
Yep.
The Avs teams from yesteryear, you had Claude Lemieux, who literally no one liked. And having one of those guys isn't the worst thing. I do think they have some pieces to be able to move, and I 100% am in line with. I think Vancouver, the sooner that they can dump him, probably the better. The more salary you're able or willing to take on, the less you'll have to pay. And so I think that he would be a good move in the end. That has really for his playoff prowess, consistency in that, that he's going to show up in big games. Yeah, I don't know if guys like Parker Kelly or Jack Drury or Colton, maybe a little bit more of Colton, but some of those guys, I don't know how they're going to produce, if they're going to produce. And then without having or seeing Landy back, I wouldn't mind. I don't know if O'Connor, who is supposed to, if he's going to remain healthy, considering. And then, Gavin Brindley, who has been a nice little surprise, is also a little surprised. A smaller frame guy, but I like it.
Yeah, I think it's just a cheap option to, and you don't have to rely on your younger players to produce. I mean, you've got Evander Kane, and he's produced in the past. So again, it takes the pressure off of him and maybe makes them play better. So
yeah. I mean, in the end, raise the floor, because I don't think that there's a lot of stars. I don't think that they are a team that's going to acquire a great player. Unless they send someone out, and I think there's no want or desire. Most of their guys who are part of the core are here for a bit. And so with that, speaking of guys who have been a part of the core and here a bit and all that good stuff, Ryan O'Freakin Riley was a name that you had brought up. I have been on the bring him back forever train. I don't know if it just hasn't worked out. Maybe there's a reason, like he didn't want to come back, whatever, who knows, all of those things. But a little bit less than Evander Kane, another guy I feel like does the dirt. And so give me your take. Why? What would it cost, do you think? And then where do you see him fitting?
Yeah, I think O'Reilly would have to be another third line center, which again that would be a question mark for me, is if he's willing to accept that role, because he's still super productive at a high level. He doesn't skate as well as he used to, which is maybe a problem in the Avs system where it's more up tempo. And I think the price for him to acquire him would be a little bit more substantial than an Evander Kane. So I'm just not – I think I'm out on Ryan O'Reilly coming back, and I think it's because, it's one of those things where you just missed each other. Like the opportunity for him to come back and play well and be happy, I think that's just passed, unfortunately. I like him as a player. I liked him when he was here, but it just seems like he's not super interested in reducing his role. He wants to play as much as humanly possible, which I understand. I mean, you only have a limited time at that level. So
yeah, he's got another year after this year at $4.5 million, and also has been a guy that has kind of stayed around that salary for a bit. And so re-upping, I don't think he would be a candidate that you would want to keep. Plus, he's going to be 36 when that contract's over. I would have loved Ryan O'Reilly to be a part of, but for those reasons, you absolutely convinced me that it. I don't know, but his all-around play, good leadership, good defensive IQ, can play on the penalty kill and on the power play. Yeah, would he do what you're asking him to do? And I think that is one that I don't even think he'd answer, because.
Yeah, and I don't know if there was bad blood with McKinnon or Bednar when he left the first time. So, and there may be bad blood there. So, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
So, anyway, it's just it's a no for me, dog.
Feelings. I like it though. No for you, dog. All right, you're out. You are
I'm out.
Like Randy Jackson on.
Right.
Yeah. All right. What about Bobby McCann, double end.
McMahon. So.
McMahon.
Yep. So he's a winger from the Leafs, And again, a lot of this stuff is about depth. He's a younger player that is only making about 1.5 million. You can check me on that, but I believe he's only making 1.5. And he's been productive for the Leafs. I think he's got the speed in order for him to play well in this Avalanche system. So I think he would be a yes for me, because I don't think he would be, again, not a whole lot to require, but I think the return on the investment, I think, would be pretty high. He would be a free agent as well, after the season. So you might be able to resign him, maybe not. We'll see. But again, I think if you're looking for depth scoring options, he's one of the better ones. So that is out there. So I'm in on
played 56 games so far, 19 goals, 13 assists. Is about a half a point a game guy with about 15 minutes of ice play a game. So not bad. Was able to contribute. It's 29 or 28 now, 29.
Yep.
At 1.3. So you look at it now, it's probably only a few $100,000 to have him for the season or the rest of the season. I think you probably get a pretty good deal on that.
He's had a couple injuries that he's dealt with too. So
but he's a bigger guy too. Yeah, 6'2", almost 210. So I think for a team that needs grit, I'm all about continuing to make sure that you have people that when they get punched in the playoffs, they can punch back.
Yep.
Don't know how much he's done or how well he's done in terms of playoff runs.
No, I mean, he's younger. So he's a little younger than he used to be. So and to be very clear, I would be a fan of either McMahon or Kane. Like I'm not trading for both of them. So because I think one or the other fills that role for a third line scoring option. So
yeah. Don't want to get redundant. No point in giving up multiple assets for the same dude. And I think both of them, in my opinion, would be good kind of backup options in case Landy isn't back. I think both of them have kind of the play style, the same, not the cachet per se, but I see it. So Mario Ferraro.
Now this is the guy that I really would like them to go out and get. I think again, you bring in that he's a defenseman from the Sharks. He's 5'11", 200 pounds, so a little smaller guy, but again, a really good puck mover. Really good at setting the point and being able to distribute the puck as appropriate. He's also still physical despite being only 5'11", so short king stand up. Yeah. So the only thing that I have a question about is he doesn't really play special teams, so not going to be on your penalty kill or penalty or power play. Yeah. So just something you got to navigate with maybe another player. But I like him from, again, a depth piece.
Why do you think a defenseman would not be on? So he's kind of operating outside the top four. He's probably
I guess. I don't know why he would not I don't know why he wouldn't play, both, especially as good of a puck mover and skater as he is. I'm very confused why he's not on the power play.
Yeah. So. And I mean, it's at least has him listed. 5'11", 6 foot-ish, almost 210 pounds. So it's not not little, not huge, but but most of his ice time, he's only averaging about 3 minutes on the penalty kill. He is not on the power play. He's averaging 3 seconds of game time on the power play. So not great. 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 total points in 15 or 55 games. But like you said, puck mover, not a goal scorer. He's only 26. So I think it is a guy that maybe you'd be looking at a long-term investment. So maybe if they had to utilize a trade of, let's say, Sam Girard to be able to maybe go get a higher-end offensive player, maybe that's a back-end move that you get to kind of backfill some depth. Don't hate it, but kind of on the opposite of, a guy who isn't on the teams to a guy that is on the teams, Justin Falk. Watch your mouth.
Yeah, so Falk, he's a defenseman for the Blues. He's a big guy. He's got a wonderful shot. But man, he's making a ton of money, and he's 33, so he's a little older. I think he would be able to help on special teams, but I'm not 100% convinced that the Avs necessarily need a guy like that, especially when I think he'd be expensive to acquire.
Yep.
He'd be expensive to keep for the rest of the season. So I don't know that I'm interested in that, because I'm really looking to like solidify the second two or the third two as far as the blue line.
Yeah. He's making 6.5 a year on 6th of his 7-year deal, and is 34 as of the moment. However, has produced 11 goals, 19 assists, so 30 total points in 57 games from your blue line. So I do think if you were to do that, I think you're acquiring him as a top 4 option. And I think that like a guy, to be honest, either of those probably happen if they utilize some of the defensive depth to go get an offensive piece. My opinion, to be honest, has been I love Samuel Girard and Devon Taves. I feel like one of those guys is always hurt, if not both. And so, mind you, they play a very physical game, Nick. Yes, I understand that. But Sam Girard is 5'10", 170. I mean, it really is. You can be really good at handling the puck and shooting and all that stuff. But if you're never on the ice, your skill's not really helpful. So I like winning with our guys, and it would be great. But in the last 10 games that Sam Girard has played, he has 1 point, and is -1. So
and for a guy
not
making,
exactly that.
A guy making $5 million, it's a little tough.
It's a little tough. So anyway, love you, Sammy. I hope you get healthy and we win a championship because of you. And I would understand too if that's kind of the odd man out. Because you got a guy like you're never trading ever, Cale Makar. I don't care if they offered you Jesus on skates. Maybe I would trade Taves for Jesus on skates, but probably not Cale. But maybe the same conversation could be had about Devon Taves, because he's 7.25 mil. Maybe him going out. So I think we got to be open a little bit to that. So with that, do you think answer this question before we move on, if the Avalanche only got one, they got one of those guys in that deal or something else, is that enough for you to feel really, really good? Or do you think that this team does need more of a shakeup and needs a little bit more of an infusion, over the lackluster last 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, I would not be mad if they dealt for multiple pieces and were aggressive at the deadline, saying, we appreciate all the help that you've given just Girard, but we're going to go in a different direction. Bring in Ferraro, bring in Evander Kane, and then see where the chips lie after the long break. So that would be where I'm leaning. So
okay. So you are on the I want to see them go for it.
Yeah, let's.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean you're in.
I mean this is a legitimate championship team / window, and you have, outside of the Stanley Cup run, you haven't made it out of the second round. I don't even know since what. Outside of that run, I don't even remember last time. I could probably look, but it's been a long time. So with that, do a couple little ads, because people love us. What am I going to tell you? Please go on, like, subscribe. Make sure you comment for the algorithm, all the things. But if you're not following and subscribed to the Orange and Blue Network on YouTube specifically, you should go do that. Heard it's important. All the kids tube, so you should do it. Additionally, we got the stuff. We got shows Monday. We got shows Tuesday. We got us Wednesday. We have another show after us. Some more on Thursday. We got Spanish for you on Friday. If there's breaking news, we got pregame, postgame, Bronco stuff, all of those good things. And just because all of these shows are Bronco kind of dominant, all the folks on the network love ball across the sports landscape. So feel free to engage on the Twitter sphere, the Blue Sky thingy, the Telegram, whatever you got to do, because we all just love sports. And again, you can't parent without caffeine. I'm just going to tell you right now. Seen people try and do it. It's an epic fail. So if you're going to do it, you might as well get some good stuff. You can go get you some Dubby, Jitterless Energy Blend. Use our code OBN10 for Orange and Blue Network 10 or OBNX 10, however you want to remember it. Please do go throw that in. Dubby, all of the good stuff, none of the bad crap. And with that, we're back. Now we're going to talk about the Denver Nuggets, who are also on a break.
Yep.
And you know what? Proud of Jamal. He went out, had a good showing in all of it. You know, didn't go as far as I would have liked in 3-point contest, but hey, nice job getting out there and not skipping it like most of the clowns in the NBA who just don't want to put themselves out there and lose at something, so they don't try. And you know, having 2 Nuggets there,
very
first
cool.
time, long time, super dope. And so with that, though, the Nuggets finish the first half, even though it's more than a half of the season, and as the 3rd seed in the West, which I think if we all were told you're going to miss Nikola Jokic for a good chunk of time, Aaron Gordon for most of the first half, Christian Brown for most of the first half, your newly acquired Cam Johnson out for a good chunk of time, Peyton Watson currently injured, Tim Hardaway for a few games, Valanciunas also out for a few games. Feel free to continue. Jamal Murray, hand spot, if I didn't say that yet. You would have thought that we would be much worse. So 3rd seed, some time to get some guys right. Hopefully, but like the Colorado Avalanche, my opinion, they are in a win now window. And if they need at least one more championship in Nikola Jokic's career, I think, to solidify their standing as like, you know, a team of an era. Don't have to be like the team of this era, but if you throw away, and I would say throw away, if you throw away one of the greatest careers in sports, American sports history, when it's all said and done, I think Nikola Jokic is going to stack so many trophies. He's going to be I think he's going to be referred to as some of the greats across sports, and one championship would be malpractice. I think it would suck. So with that, even though I think that this is the best Nuggets team that Jokic has been on, in terms of depth, in terms of mix of athleticism and veteran presence, all that stuff, taking the coach out of it, we'll see how Adelman handles some things when, again, but not to go there. But I think top to bottom, it's probably the best roster that he's had. The best cohesive team was obviously the championship team. From what I've gathered, this team is pretty tight, similar to that group. But you know what? Friendships don't win championships.
Yeah, I think we want to prove that 2023 wasn't a fluke. So it wasn't a hiccup in the landscape of the NBA. Yep. Nikola Jokic is one of the greatest offensive players to ever play the game. Yep. Multi-time MVP. He needs another championship to kind of solidify his legacy. And I think the Nuggets owe it to him to do that.
100%. And to be honest, they owe us, the fans. We have hung in through some of the worst basketball in NBA history before Carmelo came.
How dare you besmirch Juwan Howard?
Anthony Goldwire, my dude.
Houston legend.
It was so rough, man. It's kind of like the Broncos. Like we have showed up for that team a lot, and through the Comcast stuff, the altitude, like all the things. Similar with the Avalanche a little bit. They've been way more successful over time, but similar is like at some point though, our unrivaled willingness to show up for you. You owe us a little bit. Obviously, I think you owe Nikola Jokic more. But I think it's important to know that, like, we've supported you. Like, we deserve some fruits of that stuff. And they put themselves at least in a position where, where they are one of the favorites to win. So props. But again, it's not one on paper. They, the Thunder have shown, at least in their matchup, that they are better right now. I don't think in a 7-game series that would check out if everyone's healthy, but they came in the house and smacked us around. I think the Spurs are dangerous, AF, as the kids say.
Yep.
And then you got to get to the Eastern Conference, which, they choked against the Pistons and the Cavs. So, anyway, here we go. So we're going to do some In and Out Nuggets edition.
Yep.
Because you are awesome and came prepared. So we got Jeremy Sochan.
Yep. Sochan. So he's a power forward that used to play for the Spurs. Yep. Again, all these guys are buyout candidates. They're not obviously the trade deadline has passed. So that's what we're talking about. And I believe the Nuggets have 2 roster spots that they can use towards these buyout candidates. So with Hunter Tyson getting moved out at the deadline. Jeremy Sochan, I'm in on him mainly because he is a power forward who plays defense. And right now we are shockingly lacking a power forward who has any kind of availability. I mean, Peyton Watson going down was devastating, especially with Aaron Gordon not being there. And I think Sochan at least can play the position, play some defense, get some rebounds. He's not going to give you any kind of scoring threat. But with Jokic there, you may get a back screen or, cut to the rim or a second chance opportunity.
Can I tell you really sad news?
Sure.
He just got signed to the Knicks.
Of course he did. That's unfortunate.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and move to one of our favorite. No, he's okay. Lonzo Ball.
Lies.
It's Lonzo Ball of the Big Baller brand fame and broken jump shots everywhere. His shot is to basketball, like Charles Barkley's shot is to golf. Really struggled with the Cavs. And his last spot is an athletic and solid defensive player, good basketball IQ, a good facilitator, good ball handler.
Can't shoot.
And nor do you want him to.
Right.
And really even struggles kind of from within the arc, especially this year. Been injured a lot, health risk. Do you think you would having another? Would you say he's an elite ball handler?
Yes.
Yeah,
he's an elite ball handler, but he's not he solves the issue of us not having a point guard kind of on the second team.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a big of a problem as not being able to shoot the ball and not being able he's
I mean, if they don't have to guard you.
Yeah, no, it's
you could dribble and they don't. They can. And the fact that he hasn't really been successful going to the bucket this season, and mind you, he's coming back from a really significant injury, but he wasn't great before.
Yeah.
And so, any interest in the buyout? Do you think since they have to, would it hurt?
No, I if you're looking for a professional basketball player who does have an elite skill in handling the ball, and there's nobody else that you want, sure. But for the most part, I'm out because I'm looking for, 1 or 2 skills. I need you need to bring something a little bit more towards to the team. So I'm out on him.
Do you think if you got 2 years ago version of him, 34-ish% from 3, 81% from the free throw line in 22 minutes kind of thing, would that be a player? So if he came in that form, because even the year before that, he was actually an effective basketball player, shot 42% from 3, 75% from the free throw. That's kind of his MO has really been in the 37% from 3 range and has been has made himself a respectable free throw shooter. Early in his career, he was in the 40%, but has never really been effective from 2. Would you think a guy with good ball handling skills would be able to get to the rack a little bit more? But Has not been. I would be in favor of him as a second. Like, if they're like, hey, you know what, we want a professional, like you said, professional basketball player on the roster. I think there's worse guys to go to, but there's better guys to go to. So let's go to Chris Bouchard.
Bouchard. Yeah, I think it's Bouchard. Again, another power forward, has athleticism, can actually shoot the ball, whereas Sochan can't. Kind of an energy big off the bench. Certainly needs more development. I think he needs some playing time to kind of figure out what he is. But considering we're not going to have Peyton Watson for an extended period of time, we're not going to have Aaron Gordon for a couple weeks at least. So we need somebody out there, and we have minutes. So sign me up. I mean,
and he's a career 48% from the field, 33% from three, almost 78% from the free throw line, 18.9 per. And so I'm in. Yeah, averages 8 points a game over his career, 5 rebounds. I would want him for this alone. Let me tell you his nicknames. Swatter Boy, Slim Duck. Okay. And then some things I don't know if I can say those. So Slim Duck is super sweet. I would be in favor of.
Yeah, I think that's about as best as you can hope for from a big man, in the buyout market is Chris Boucher. So I'd be in.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, like you said, this buyout, you're not going to be getting tremendous talents. Most guys that they bought out want to go be a big piece of a puzzle somewhere, and not the final bench piece of Nikola Jokic's career.
Yeah.
Or Eric Gordon, who has always been exciting for me in the sense of he always was supposed to be really, really good.
Yep.
And there'd be some times where he'd have some really solid glimpses of it, but just never became like that dude.
Yep.
And so 37 now. Holy crap, we've been watching basketball for a long time.
I remember him at Indiana. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. He came in the league at 20, and here we are. And so this year, through 37 games, he is averaging 57% from three. I heard that's good. It sounds like, or seems like, that's all he is doing is shooting 3% 3-point shots based on his low sample size of 6 games. I mean, he's the guy that would stretch the court.
Yep.
And is a guy that I would trust to make some shots. Probably is not going to offer you much in terms of rebounding or probably even on the ball defense, as he's 30, whatever I just said.
37.
But again, a guy that, career 43% from 2, 37% from 3, 80% field goal. And so I think a guy who you know what you're going to get. So I think that's something, even just to be able to have predictable minutes, I think is huge for a team like this.
Yep.
It seems like out of the options, we are Chris Bouchard stands. And to be honest, it's probably about it.
Well, I mean, I would take Eric Gordon, if only for the shooting, and I think he's an underrated ball handler. So
okay,
whatever you got,
you got me. I'd take him too then. Especially because his nickname is the Hobbit. Okay. So let's do that.
Okay.
All right. Now let's change it up to the foosball, Bobby.
The foosball.
As all of us are aware, the New England Patriots got drubbed in the Super Bowl because, of course,
lovely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of things Cowboy fans and Bronco fans can agree on, but the New England Patriots getting smashed in the Super Bowl is one that we all can enjoy. And I mean, smashed, that was rough, man. I felt bad for Drake May and his family. His mom was telling everyone about how she excited, my son's going to be in the Super Bowl. He's second in MVP, probably should have won MVP. And then he's crying on the field of the game. And you're she had all of her friends over, they're like wine drinking it up. She's like super pumped. And then he's just getting the crap smashed out of him, like just how embarrassing that is. Like if you threw a watch party, right? You like get everyone over. It's like the draft when guys have like everyone in there, right? Like, yeah, man, you're going first round. Everyone's like, oh, taking selfies with you. And you're like, I'm the man. And it's like the 5th round. And you're like, oh, right, got picked. Like that just sucks. That's kind of what that was. And so.
Good to know.
Yeah. But the NFL is a 365-day-a-year machine.
No joke.
And as somebody who loves football, I like it. I like it. So the key question I'm going to have for you before we kind of go into the combine is if you were the GM of the Broncos, if you're George Praton, your eyebrows fell off, and you were the man, is this the time that the Broncos should be aggressive and I mean really like you're going top mark, like, yep, putting big deals on the table to get the guys I want? Or is this a team that really should execute a much more calculated, so maybe not first wave guys or second wave guys right away, maybe one, but being much more strategic about who they bring in and the cost?
For me, it's aggressive. Like you were this close to the pinnacle and representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. You need to maximize Bo Nix's window here. Like he's still on a rookie deal. Go out and.
What do you think what would you say the window is, just for our folks who probably hear that but don't really know, like why are we talking about the rookie window? The window. Give us a little bit of the sports admin take on and why that's important.
So the window is that Bo Nix is still on his rookie contract, and traditionally, quarterback especially has gone for $40-50 million a year. So it takes up a huge chunk of your cap room. And while Bo Nix is not making very much money, so you want to maximize getting these big name players that make a lot of money while you're paying Bo Nix so little money. So that's what I mean when I say maximize the window. He's playing at a high level right now, and this is kind of what you want from your franchises. You want a rookie quarterback who shows himself to be a productive starter in the league, where you can go out and say, okay, I can go get an A.J. Brown for $29 million. I can go out and sign maybe Mike Evans in free agency for $13 million a year. I can go get Ken Walker for $11 million a year, whatever it is in free agency. So you can be aggressive with these moves. So that's what I mean when I'm saying, maximize the window.
Love it. Love it. So with that, we'll talk about maybe just some news of some players here in a second. Let's actually jump first into neither of our teams are really like looking at quarterbacks. Do we really want to talk about quarterbacks? Is there anything to really talk about outside of Fernando Mendoza, who's going to go number 1 overall? So there's probably not much to talk about anyway.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this quarterback class, it is interesting to me, only because, all of last offseason we heard, wait till next year. Next year's quarterback class is going to be amazing. And it was guys like Nussmeier and Klubnik and Lenore Sellers, and everybody was super excited about them. Well, Nussmeier got hurt. Klubnik had a bad year. Sellers went back to college. So I don't think you can tell.
After a pretty down year.
Right.
I don't think super hot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think you can tell what a quarterback class is going to be a year out. So that's the only thing that's of interest to me. I think this quarterback class is not great. So, but it's just one of those things that, like, I don't think you can rely on, we'll wait a year and try and get our guy, because your guy may or may not be there.
Yep. Yeah. So, and with the NIL, being able to go back and earn a bag in college is
changes
kind of throws in a wrench with your planning. Yep. And so really looking at it, at least PFF, the highest graded. So mind you, these aren't the players that they have highest ranked, but highest graded quarterbacks that are in the draft or at least going to the combine, I believe. Cole Payton, North Dakota State. Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt. And then Carson Beck is third, and then Joe Fagnano of UConn. So again, if those names excite you, this class is for you. If you are glad that you don't need a quarterback, let's move on, shall we?
Right.
So let's talk about, maybe give me a few guys that you really are excited to see at the combine on the offensive side of the football. Positions, be damned. But give me a few guys that you're excited to see how they test, or what's the buzz on them at Indy this week.
Yeah, so just for the combine, I think the most important part for teams is the medicals and the interviews. Like, those are the most two important things. So mostly the things that we don't see as fans on the tape. So those will be interesting for different reasons, and we'll hear tidbits come out after the combine. You know, this guy interviewed really well, this guy didn't. You know, maybe we found a medical concern with this guy and didn't find it with this guy. As far as like kind of the workouts that I'm looking at, I'm interested to see how Ruben Bain measures, because he's kind of a shorter guy. He's super productive. Like, I think he's a top 5 player in this draft. I think he wrecked in the playoffs, but the rumor is he has shorter arms, which I'm sure he does. So how short are the shorter arms, and what does that look like? I'm interested in Jordan Tyson, kind of how he runs. He's a wide receiver out of Arizona State.
Former buff.
So I'm interested to see how he tests. Denzel Boston, which I know a whole bunch of Bronco fans are super interested in. He's the 6'4" receiver from Washington. That we'll see how well he tests. I mean, I don't know how super fast he is, so we'll be interested to see how that works out. You know, I think Anthony Hill is going to blow. Who's a linebacker from Texas. I think he and Jake Golday are going to blow up the combine because they're super athletic freaks.
Yeah. That makes me sad, because that's a guy that I would love back end of round 1. I agree with you. I think he's going to make himself a lot of money at the Underwear Olympics. And I think Jake Golday was a guy that you were hoping could sneak, right? I think he went to Central Arkansas before he transferred to Cincinnati, had a great season. But a little bit like Cody Swessinger, I think, in like physique and Carson, thank you. And Sal, and so I think the same thing happened with Carson. I think he tested real well, was essentially a fringe first round pick, and then was he the rookie defensive player of the year?
He was.
I mean, so
super instinctive linebacker, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it was fluid. He had good length, but a guy that comes from a down program. And not that Cincinnati is even at the level right now that probably UCLA is, but not a program that's stacked with pros all the time and all that good stuff. So that sucks. Like, I'm a little sad about it, because I think both of those guys are going to go really well. I think I want to get your take really quick, because I know that you like the diamonds in the rough, and I know because the Broncos are going to trade for George Pickens, you're going to need a receiver, which we know that. Is it going to happen? I just want everyone to know Chris is on the in. If you want George Pickens insight, find him on the Twitters. Okay, so at Wit8356, he's going to tell you why the Broncos aren't going to get him, because jury won't let it. So as we move our sights somewhere else, a couple guys that I really want to see how they run at the receiver position. Ted Hurst, Georgia State, and Elijah Surratt. I think
out of Indiana.
Surratt's just one of those like ball players. Yeah, he's a give me the rock guy.
Yep.
The Broncos don't have one of those who they need a alpha receiver mentality, which kind of sucks. Like, you got a good group of like good teammates and stuff. Like, they're all rooting for each other, which is great if you're in high school, probably even college, maybe. But you need to be able to have a guy that, like George Pickens, if it's 3rd and 6, hell or high water, we're going to throw him the ball and he's going to come down. Like, he's going to get open. It's the Broncos don't have one of those. So having a lot of wide receiver 2s and 3s, but not ace. Elijah Surratt, I think a little bit more of a solidified of a prospect. His running is the concern, because he's a big guy, uses his body and his frame. but does he have enough deep speed and agility to warrant an early round pick? And then Ted Hurst, who showed really well at the Senior Bowl, and so caught some eyes. Has all the measurables, 6'3", like 205, 210, and competed really well against some top tier talent when Georgia State played bigger schools. So either of those guys tickle your fancy?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of. I actually like Montgomery from. That's this. I'm for blanking on his school right now, but the wide receiver that showed out at the Senior Bowl, really good technician, really had a really wonderful week at Mobile. So I'm interested in watching him. I'm interested in watching since Jeremiah Love, I don't believe is going to work out at the combine. I believe he's there for medicals and the interviews.
Sorry,
Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be
Tyron Montgomery.
John. Yes, Tyron Montgomery. Yes, sir. But Jaden Price, his backup running back at Notre Dame, I think he has a real chance to if he works out really well, I think he's going to solidify himself as the second pick, and I think he's got juice. So,
I mean he's got speed for days. It's a little bit like when Jahmyr Gibbs came out, who was the other back there?
At Alabama.
Was it Najee? No,
yeah.
It wasn't Najee. Yeah.
I think
was it Najee? I mean, he was the pair, right? And then I think we would all agree. Jahmyr Gibbs, special.
Yep.
Najee Harris is a good player. And so being the bell cow in college doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be the guy that's more successful at the NFL level.
Yep.
If you have some of those elite traits. Mind you, I think Jeremiah Love, if he checks out well medically, I think he's a really good player. So I don't know. I'm not saying that Price would oversee that, but I think not. Don't. If our teams, if either of your teams draft him, because I think both of us would, both the Broncos and the Cowboys will need a running back, get a second to fourth round, just added depth. That's a guy that could take it to the house. He wasn't an every down back because they didn't need him to be.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he can't be. It doesn't mean it can't be effective. So I agree. I'm really excited about that. Again, it's one of those where I feel like a lot of the guys that I'm excited about are probably going to test pretty well. And then the hope of you getting them third, fourth, fifth round kind of goes along the wayside. But one thing I'm interested. So I really like the Ruben Bain because I think in my opinion, he was the best player in college football this year. And which is hard for me to say as a Florida State fan, and he's a Miami Hurricane, all those things. But the NFL is one and there'll be fake outrage too, because teams plant that crap so that he falls to them. So even if he doesn't stack up or all those things, doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to fall. It means that it just is. I'm interested because the Broncos really need an inline. Why? You have some guys who really it's like a receiver draft heavy group. So Justin Jolly, Tanner Koziol.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't like that name. And then Eli Stowers, who balled out with Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt, but all those guys are really catch first guys. And so who knows? But the Broncos really need some youth at that position. Adam Troutman, Evan Ingram, their best days are not ahead. And so really kind of stacking that room. So I'm interested to see how they stack up because I think they'll all probably test pretty well. Most of the guys that are well thought of right now are guys who primarily impact the passing game.
Yeah, I've seen it in the most recent days. A lot of the mock drafts have Sadiq going to the Broncos in the first round. So, and he's the Oregon tight end. I am not.
What do you think is a good range for him? Because I was really on that bandwagon for a bit, but watching Evan Ingram play and then drafting Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
It's not even that he's a bad player. I didn't see Sean Payton successfully used the veteran one. I don't know what he's going to do with the rookie one. And at least Evan Ingram has an idea of what's expected of him blocking at the NFL level.
Yeah.
Kendrick Sadiq Oregon isn't playing against Penn State. All due respect to Penn State. You're not lining up against the Chargers front and all those things. So what do you think if your mock draft, the way that you wanted the draft to go, where you think people would be valued at, where do you think would be the appropriate range for Kendrick Sadiq?
I think you're looking at, he probably goes in the first, like he's right around that 30th pick. I think that's the right spot for him. I just don't think the Broncos are the right fit for him. So for all the reasons that you just laid out, I mean, you just paid Evan Ingram to be that joker position. And while he wasn't very successful in his first season, you're not going to play them both together. So, which then limits, the 12 personnel you're going to put out there. So,
and in a win now window, do you want to use your first round pick on a guy who is a developmental prospect?
Yeah. I mean,
I think you better really kill it in free agency to stack the cupboard like that. Cause if not, you really want guys that are going to see the field. All right. We have been on long, but I want to ask you, I'm going to give you just a random question.
Sure.
Give me a guy who, when it's all said and done, this guy will be the talk of the combine. Who's a guy that you think is absolutely just going to blow it up? Metaphorically.
It's Jaden Price for me. I think he's going to crush it. And I think he's going to be quick, and I think he's going to be fast. And I think there's going to be maybe a little buzz that maybe he goes, first round, like the end of the first round. I think you're going to get that kind of Travion Henderson vibe from him last year. Okay. So that's the guy I think who's going to blow it up. So Jordan Tyson also is a physical freak if he's healthy.
Yeah.
He could blow it up too.
Yeah, and I think right now the number one spot for receivers, I think it's up for grabs. I think he's probably your de facto, but I think if someone goes in there and really burns up some tape, there's some jockeying. I'm really looking forward to Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety at Toledo.
Sure.
Nick Emenwari, there was, he's physical freak and all the things like, but what if you don't use him? Isaiah Simmons didn't, but all the things. And so NFL kind of talked themselves out of him in the first round. Saw what he did with Seattle.
Yep.
I think he kind of fits the bill as like the physical marvel. And so he's a guy that I think very much could be the next kind of conversation there. So,
one that I think is under the radar is the Aisha Noor from Arizona State, because he had a really good he's the tackle from Arizona State, had a really good Senior Bowl, and he's got a ton of momentum. So if he tests out, watch out, because now people are talking about him. Oh, he's a top 20 pick when he was not even being discussed prior to the Senior Bowl. So
no, I like that, and I think he's a guy too that at least has the ability to bump inside too. If you needed to get him on the field, I think he's got some there. I agree with that. Again, it's those guys that I'm like, man, those are like great, like third round. It's like it always is. Like, gosh dang it.
Right.
But the NFL was probably onto it anyway. They didn't need Twitter to tell them that a guy was good or not. But here we are.
Yeah, so the media catches up with the pro scouts. So
yeah, that's usually how it goes. Any lasting thoughts before we close up shop today?
No, sir. Had a blast, man. Let's do it again.
Yeah. I love you, brother. Thanks for popping in.
Yep.
For JT, who sadly is getting teeth stuff done. Hope he is on the resting. For my man Chris in the Orange and Blue Network, I'm Nick. Seeing us out. If you need a script.
From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. So grab your crew, let's hit the show. My high sports symposium, let the good times flow.